Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is another paid request, this time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down in the info box. It could be any topic, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be. Again, I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, this is for Secret Window from 2004. And this is a film that is based on a Stephen King story. And it stars Johnny Depp. This is right after Pirates of the Caribbean, which was a huge hit. So now Johnny Depp is a big star again. So studios are wondering what roles can we get him in. It's directed by David Koepp. I can never pronounce his last name correctly. He directed Stir of Echoes, which I think is a bit underrated Kevin Bacon film. I actually like that more than Sixth Sense. And Johnny Depp, pretty simple story. He stars as a writer who caught his wife, Maria Bello, having an affair with Timothy Hutton. Which, funny enough, he was in a Stephen King based... He was in a movie called The Dark Half, which was based on a Stephen King story. Like I said, Johnny Depp finds out his wife's having an affair, confronts them, leaves. It's sometime later. He's in a cabin out in the woods with his dog named Chico. And he's a writer, but he's stuck. Doesn't know what to write. Got a definitive writer's block. And one day he gets visited by this guy, this southern gentleman, played by John Turturro. Great actor. He was in The Big Lebowski as the Jesus. Or Jesus. Never fuck with the Jesus. Trying to think. Charles Dutton. Sorry, brain fart. He's in this. Great actor. I mean, he was in Alien 3. I don't like Alien 3 at all, but Charles Dutton is one of the best parts of that film. He was in ICU, Sylvester Stallone film. He was in Mimic, done a lot of stuff. He plays a private investigator. Just what happens is John Turturro, he says that Johnny Depp stole his story. You stole my story. I want compensation. This won't stand. Johnny Depp says, I didn't steal your story. And pretty much it's this kind of psychological movie about Johnny Depp trying to deal with this John Turturro guy who gives him these warnings and gives him these deadlines, and it's hard to talk about the rest of it without spoilers. But the theme with this film is I remember seeing this in the theater. And I remember this is a time period where I would go to the theater a lot. I lived in a different part of Texas, in a town called San Marcos. And where I lived, I was very near to a movie theater. So honestly, like almost on a weekly basis, from 2003, 2004, maybe a little bit 2005, I would go to the theater, if not weekly, then like every other week or so. And when you see that, then you see a lot of movie trailers. And at times they'll repeat the same trailer. This is one of them. Now, when I saw the trailer, I was able to predict the twist. I saw the film in the theater because I'm like, hey, you know what? I like Johnny Depp, Stephen King. I like a lot of movies based on his stuff. Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Even The Mangler, The Shining, Cujo, Carrie, The Running Man, when he wrote under Richard Bachman. I like a lot of that stuff. Misery, Shawshank Redemption, the works. 1408 I really enjoyed, which came out actually, I believe, after this. 1408, I thought that was a good one. I think I saw that in the theater. But like I said, I watched the trailer. I'm like, don't tell me this is the twist. And lo and behold, it was. And even watching the film, within 15 minutes, I'm going, this is the twist, isn't it? And it was. And I think that really muddied my enjoyment of the film. Because the whole film, I'm just waiting for the film to catch up to what I was thinking. I'm just waiting for it to catch up. And they make the twist out to be such a shocking venture. And I'm like, if you've never seen this film, if you have seen other films and other horror films, I think you will predict the twist pretty easily as well. Now, that may not matter for your enjoyment, and you may go, yeah, it did, but it doesn't matter. It did matter to me, and that's why, it's still stuck in my head, that first impression. With that said, as a film, I would say I don't hate it as a film. Watch it again. If I'm looking at just what it is, I do think Johnny Depp does a good job acting-wise. I liked his character as his lazy writer. I like the relationship he has with his dog Chico and how he talks to him. There's little moments that are enjoyable, whether it's the maid after vacuuming, she says some stuff, and then Johnny Depp is kind of looking at her, and when she turns her back, he does like this, like to her back, the finger gun, like I thought that was pretty funny. Oh, I see that, Mrs. Darby. And the other actors, whether it be Charles Dutton, whether it be John Turturro, I think John Turturro, he does a very solid job. The dialogue may seem a bit flowery, but he makes it work. I'll burn your life away like a cane field in a high wind. But he makes it work. He makes it work for what he needs to do. But at the same time, I mean, that's kind of all that it is. I mean, spoilers, heavy spoilers. What you find out is Johnny Depp and John Turturro are the same guy. That when Johnny Depp found his wife fucking the other guy, he was ready to shoot her, but he didn't. Left. Since then, his mind's been frazzled. And now, I think you call it dissociate disorder. Pretty much, things will happen, he won't remember it. And like I said, even without watching the trailer, they're just stuff that the director does that I think he oversells his hand and makes it predictable. For example, the tracking shot. This might not seem much to anybody else, but the tracking shot, it goes right into a mirror. As if now we're in the mirror world. And I don't know, maybe because I had seen too many damn movies. That's make me think, okay, that's going to be from his point of view, so what he sees might not exactly be what's happening. And then there are times he's having nightmares, and he sees a window with light on it, trying to pop open, and then it opens, and then this shadowy figure comes out. And I'm like, okay, is that his id? Is that his dark half? I mean, he did a fun... It doesn't help that Timothy Hutton is in the film. And, you know, you had the dark half, which was, to be fair, different, because that was a bit more supernatural. And I think in the original story, it was more of a supernatural angle, but it's not in this. But I don't know, it being supernatural just never occurred to me. It just went, oh, he's crazy. I think also at that time there was just a lot of movies, which I won't give away because I'll be giving away those twists. But there were a lot of movies around this time period that the twist was, oh, the person's crazy. Oh, these two are the same people. For example, okay, I'll mention this because it's a pretty popular film, Fight Club. You know, Fight Club had just been out a few years before, in '99. You know, yeah, that twist. There were other films that had that twist. So because that twist was so used in a common fashion, when you think of, okay, more likely this don't have a twist, that pops up, and it was the most obvious twist, and lo and behold, it's the twist they went with. And the rest of the film is just scenes between Johnny Depp and John Turturro. He finds his dog has been killed with a screwdriver. He calls the sheriff. He hires a private investigator he's worked with before, Charles Dutton. He argues with John Turturro, who says, oh yeah, you have this evidence with this magazine article that the story is yours, not mine, then go get it. He gets a call that the house he and his ex had been in had burnt down. He talks a bit more Charles Dutton, and Charles Dutton has a plan. We're going to talk to this guy who apparently was a witness, but then he says he's not. We're going to push him to see if what did he tell us. And then Johnny Depp finds him dead. Now, granted, why would he just not call the cops, call the sheriff, and say, hey, there's these two dead guys? He already told the sheriff that, some guy... What's funny, he said someone murdered his dog with a screwdriver. And the sheriff says something, well, killing a dog may not be a crime. What the fuck kind of sheriff are you? Did you get your badge at the bottom of a goddamn cereal box? Yeah, I think murdering a fucking dog is a crime. It's not like I could go out and just shoot a fucking random dog and then nothing happens. Are you fucking kidding me? That was the dumbest shit. The sheriff going, well, killing a dog may not be a crime. What the fuck are you smoking? And I don't want it. Someone to explain that to me. I don't know, maybe it's meant this is a dipshit sheriff who's out of his league. I don't know. Sorry, damn sinuses because of the damn weather going like this. So I apologize. That's why I'm doing it with my mouth. Which is ironic because there's actually a moment where Johnny Depp does that. But instead he goes, rah, rah. Which that was... when he starts finding out that he's going crazy and he's talking to a version of himself, I read up that apparently one of his kids, when he was nonverbal, would do that. So he thought that as a guy that would find out what's going on, his mind would be blown, he would revert back to being nonverbal. But it does look ridiculous, Johnny Depp going, rah, 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 rah. That just looks ridiculous. For a moment that's supposed to be pretty serious for a twist, it just becomes a bit laughable. At least that part. And I wouldn't say the movie is scary. That's the thing. Is it a scary movie? No. Is it a suspenseful movie? No. Is it a violent movie? No. I think it's PG-13. I could be wrong on that. What rating is this? I swear it's PG-13. Because you don't really see anything. So I have to double check. Yeah, it is PG-13. I want to double check. So it's PG-13. So there's not a lot of intensity. There's really no visceralness to it. Like I said, I don't think there's any suspense. It's predictable of a plot. So really, what you have are good actors giving pretty decent performances. But like I said, not a whole lot happens. A dog dies, then the two guys die. Some arguments between, you find out, himself. And then Maria Bello comes by to check on her ex. And we find out that what we've been seeing, the place being nice and tidy, is not the case. Because we were in his point of view and we saw what he saw. In reality, the whole place is messed up, overturned, stuff written on the wall, shooter, because supposedly John Turturro's name was John Shooter. But really it was meant for shoot her, as in he had the gun before when he found her fucking. Oh, you should have shot her, so shoot her, aka shooter. Which honestly, when I saw this stuff writing on the wall, it reminded me of the Simpsons episode The Shining. Where, of course, in The Shining, Jack Nicholson, you had all the stuff typed up. Make Jack a dull boy. But in the Simpsons cartoon, it was written all over the walls. I don't know, that, yeah, just seeing that stuff, it just reminded me of The Shining. And Marge Simpson finding that. By this point, that person now is taking over Johnny Depp. Chases after her, stabs her in the leg. Timothy comes by, smacks him in the head with a shovel. You get the idea, he cuts his head off with a shovel. You don't see anything. Then you get the idea he kills her, buried him in his secret garden that you see through his secret window. The sheriff kind of knows he did it, but they can't prove it. But Johnny Depp talks about the ending, and this ending's perfect. And he has a shitload of corn. And is it definitely a grisly idea that bodies are being used to make corn, and that's why he's having all this corn to eat. It's definitely, I don't know, Tales from the Crypt, that type of style ending that I think if you're a horror fan, you'd get a bit of a spark out of. I guess to me, I mean, I didn't really care about Maria Bello or Timothy Hutton's characters, so it didn't make me that mad watch it because, okay, she seems like a nice lady, but at the same time she did cheat on her husband and have an affair on her husband, and she even mentioned she was too much of a coward. Granted, she does feel regretful when she's talking to him on the phone. So she's not an evil person. So I'm not saying she deserved to die. Far from it, but you did screw up, lady. And then the other guy was just a dick. But I felt bad, he killed the dog. Like, honestly, him killing the... I mean, that's what... At the point, he thinks John Turturro did, but inevitably he did it. That, I felt like the dog I felt the most sorry for. I really did, so... Yeah, I can't promote anything Johnny Depp's character does. Because Charles Dunn didn't deserve to die, the other guy did. I mean, he's a murderer, so that's why. But, I mean, come on, don't kill the dog, dude. Come on. He's crazy, he's out of his mind. He's batshit insane. So, the enjoyment of the film will depend on how much you like Johnny Depp and John Turturro's performances. I do think they do a good job. I think they have some nice back and forth pieces of dialogue. The ending, if you like those kind of endings, definitely gives you a bit of a... I don't know if irony is the case, but try to have a bit of that punch and dark humor in a way. But would I say I think it's an awful film nowadays after rewatching this? No. I mean, Cell with John Cusack, that's an awful fucking movie. Some of those Children of the Corn sequels and the remake, those are awful movies. I mean, it doesn't really count, but like The Mangler 2 and The Mangler Reborn and... God, I'm trying to think of others. Like, those are pretty awful movies. But is it a favorite of mine? No. I liked 1408 more. Gerald's Game, I would say I liked more. There's a few others as well. But, again, Johnny Depp and John Turturro were good. Charles Dunn is always great. It's great to see him in this. But like I said, when the story's that predictable and there's really nothing else to the story other than that, and again they try to make it like a big gotcha deal, and it's not really the case at all. And it is PG-13. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of other stuff to it. I just said it almost makes me wonder if this would have worked better as an episode of a Tales from the Crypt. Because I don't think it needed to be that long of a movie. I'm not saying it's 2 hours, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I just don't know if there's enough there for a full-length film, but maybe if it had some other twists and turns to it that really keep you invested. I mean, I would say I'd rather watch this than The Ninth Gate when I'm thinking of Johnny Depp films. So it's definitely not the worst Johnny Depp film I've seen. But I would say I like Ed Wood more. But I mean, I'll watch this over Alice in Wonderland or fucking Dark Shadows. So that's what I mean. I would say at the end of the day, if I'm being fair, it's okay. Watch it again. It's an okay film. Like I said, the reason I hated for so long is, to repeat myself, that's not the twist, is it? That can't. There's gotta be more to it than that, right? Oh, it is. Okay, I just waited, 100 minutes for it to catch up, or 90-some minutes to catch up to me. Oh, great. But that's just how I looked at it. But at least there were a couple moments that made me chuckle of a darkly humorous affair. The cast make it work, and like the director, like maybe at least within the film, don't have stuff that is very telling to the viewer, that really telegraphs the. I mean, I think there's too many points that telegraphs the ending. Even when he's like looking at cigarettes, and then the guy seems to have cigarettes as well, and like you really hone in on that. And oh, like you guys, you both smoke. There's a lot of details that just, did you want this to be a surprise, David, or no? But I definitely enjoy Stir of Echoes much more from the director's work. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.